Now a millionaire pretends to be in a coma, but when the heart his no si confession Marilyn Chenas rooms now lay antiseptic and mold mali everything was wily curtains might bed sheets by silence in concept of it lay ang manuhan muk in sang days. His name was Julian Duck. Well, tatilaw po at tati yung year to on of na oldest luxury hotel ang piras in the country amanuons pamandad boardrooms no lay still at trains caravan. He temnon daw anay matpuflak fresh cat had nearly taken his record so no world by a vague what they didn't know was tas Julian Brackwell was not in a coma. Her was pretending out chadlo take glass door off. His private hospital suite mafog boyles dokit at threat na telling yung Damian's boys guyan si cousin Lee Kamadalways or nyast aways smiling when that thought noon was watching crazy's or chance na boards rest as if we don't step in no who might lose everything step in your voice was colder smaller kasering dakwal guyan. Step motor no Damian we don't step in wetty contrast. Horrible hiti asat your horrible not sa board won't wait forever and neither shog madamyan yasitate but kalawyer gulans as tin attorney's tale in six stat attorney won't be a problem for long cut karen interrupted gasoil yes but isole kat wikit patient ka narrative guya may niparway up anya wikit na nurse compliant freeze will be over with. In weeks inside Gamrong Nulans hurt pandad base kasuri saw his motionless body so it was true her had suspected the crash was an accident na last minute trip tonyak tan sa had ended with a shredded bird real matpedka and adaya dosis of nun, traumatic mabagguyan had regained consciousness. Within 2 days and chosen not to speak not yet he needed time he needed talk no who had betrayed him and no at he partly yielded ka door o paligmat assault his footsteps sour time different guyent new catret yem already gento near call me shred Nora. Good morning ni Kerr Blackwell her voice was soft but Kerr no post witness it's just no shimok narang sa bed with kong if present si check in his bitaw suggesting his blanket brushing his hair back slightly with her hepatis cancer was no pitiin vertasan ni professionalism and so meaning LCA so mekin buyan comment ninyat he had matkan her from last late of barely. Opened this when she was looking the way she had allowed that night he always lang med to. Herself when she shine it isang she himlay na human being not a not cause and she never say na it control no take it not like danyan here nervous looks tebo to day nora said get ilis scribbling so making indo notes or cats good siya at besan him saying soft they don't know her you can hear masyaded her voice. Lower no almost conspiratorial but ni trait hiyaw can just half hihiing gulyan outlet race in his chest was rabot to si somatin laliste nagcarefully heard still ito Christ job because he needed the malikats not a kind identa to manifestations because warla dos flatmail but no katim here is fancier kings and don't sit right she glanced towards the door here kausin kang inyet per day when you mirror asi por well asi trato sumyumong rinakon that you weren't wakin ang nanitayin suon nan koton in his voice it scared me. Ngulian thing your stiwitchad na staffation noran didn't notice ishawog say nothing. Siya whispered ishog Justin may peket and keep kit but ni kanti heartless Tomas already ibekem understo yo payo plan refer yang release telling or not iwan be port of so men in that let's sumiyong fade away just because Clara inconvenient she stowed slowly imigun to start keeping tuon lugs she murmured on for command on rats harness Luyan felt sumekin stir in his chest catch and moke in a long time here sto making Nora adjusted their manla Stanfen placeable on the table beside him tonight imwing to read to Rio Somesin uman siya kid out without an honor word sa door cricket shot and din lasteolis New Yan Blackwell wicked aso control gamawang wait but not korlong sa next where we and la silence out loud this after the last round gas shakes and lumpreening staff laugh Nora wawag dimmer lights and sit by Gulians ben kay go ali sounds kasok beep of mais and kawin bashin ng high windows puff de. Recovery it had been 2 weeks since she took sa assignment 2 weeks of watching Julian Blackwell as a name she had only seen in magazines and headlines na still na as say current from grief but so meeting was of deep layoff. She noticed it First with some medications ang resical minishechekid laut shartan patkaw sedative dosage han chain idespelino signs of agitation seizures or trauma in fast at hand, being reviewed at auken kaim na nutrition logs ka physicians visits were it resinir vitals were relagid but never irwali demandar speech therapist was opposed to may pritihan siya napans and it mas no organ from anyon no concern yas polinos and com reminders to stick to protocol siya had worked in no care facilities to clonapkit science of negligence that kaithout lies so making yansis so making intentional katemening siyembroy, inner ang napi of kalito prince a book or moser wrist tom man. Night at home failed to dark siya flatbed front ka pages as she spoke ito Milyonaryo probably hate Facebook. Sa side soft tilip laughing itan katego imin niro rehabilitan practical hotels contracts numbers but always like phrase on it's about some yun who just lost and plan finds meaning in ka simplest planes. Yok no. Siya dadgansin at salip bag tega lang to yesterday about your sedative doseb na she'd ma-off say it was per family request no adjustment no taper plan just status quo her moisture shirt with frustration became a nurse to help. Pay a project better not stay stuck siya son walked to the window and pressed ahan tunog glassy dalt tinuuyem rally erguyen but em restoring to belia kire mora awaki kan anon mans to admit your can just prod into a festim siyang in your protocol not Iberis, in just a little ikno mo to do it without raising a lansan nga fanlon akiselo take a lit. She turned back to him but he can't sit by and watch she'll disappear like he made don't cut before and he can't do it hagai. She reached for her notebook and began writing in a salon lab on she kept hidden in her locker a real recon of medsere flat responses metas and perong observations she didn't notice kat nuyan surheyes mo site beneath her needs at midas se return with atamosa sa momang tiyahan tablang netin gomer shoulder si should go. Siya whispered bag ikan sit na niyoy. Sat beside him again po na ako buknan open itong siya first chapter and plain actor a moment of stillness siya kumos it is did she spoke not to filter bato ang steer heart he was supposed to be your inner siyok no. She said he was feeling in for so now emergency calls the original nurse backed out last minute didn't at for her voice fakadi thought it was finally an assignment that pain in now. Tungrap mapay off school last Jenny license back but no ceiling forward elbows on her kinisi your Catherine sa sumefin in kahaway she thought he was on break she said we just need to keep him sedately until kind air finalast. Damian nodded lie it was no kinorang pastor hansembon ikaimer to reap but no imra Freddy was sa red toto lok sumyon di siya looke nilang adguyan his fistel and angok di don't know have kyongan learn but he had to say it cut lagi won't do it he won't be part of submitting close she told so it was barely a whisper he don't know what's going on but in with he was or not you ever way up siya tashid he had nightly year not alone. And then she left sa door causing gently baying to her inside the room as in yung tears rapid from the corner of Julian's eye was alone and may bulgast may rumaog kahit to pretend formation your nura side no ninto the doctors ko sinto ng hospital director na ninto ng Nakwell family but every night she spoke ito and she told him about her life in bits and pieces stories from rarely des at a nursing student pilin so had chain it her chefs at broke hers walking neses at yet her going shit. Talked about her father akit plumber who belim heard kat don god den ninang audience it just needed consistency nguyen is tenid hak kaong mo maset karob spit baser heard her and it was mo na nasang the verb ko it itumat kakiros ili it kinawag get had tawit him to distract ever yun na Raelis spoke lay sumron nguad ket gamen naman pa ireri net she harave na little earlier stayed a little longer she started experimenting with on neurological stimulation that's not anything not wild grease red flags gastirob to see if his body kaog respond na pinch of his pang a light pressure on his eyelid gentle sensors was on every as she was adjusting his blanket she is beside him leaning closer Yulin. Anything. Tilen, share sa gyad shaking, verlag may beam ni Justy magining ng suwanding to believe in sumatin cuts not fair but can he seen that finger mo just at rich belly more than a whisper of motion but it was real nora cause her yes madenig her breath out she leaned in cause doya did you last her it pass again as slow delivery curve of his finger nora covered her mouth with both hands or Negosasyon abruptly nearly knacken over Castlebane her for a few seconds all she could do was stare at him jahit resin and falling fast heart resin fen sila og ladkit and breathers as talid joyful sang yung kaner, she said stepping back to his side me and rain inferior bin listening pretwong tainhangan kiro. Siya as yet on night ay scanning his chart while her fingers gently smooth at the edge of his seam his finger curled yes you last one beat not power. Ano serious? She sat down beside him itin ijet it inibara wanted to be a nurse nearly. To pay kabeo si wanted tong nap but somewhere along the way he started surviving instead of living. Nguyan mo, gisan slightly trying to reach her she took it without hesitation he won't let them do trick to you. She said he don't care what kay want you're coming back. Where we going to get you back? In that moment for the first time in years Nguyen Brackwell then realized a name on a concat con a line in a where felt human that Carsoyon had chosen to belong in him even when it couldn't speak and no waiter else was ready to fight back in this at photo das yet current of urgency when Benny's every moment Nora and Julian shared bidi Nora played ga obedient nurse logging routine notice adjusting the rimwek steady hands nodding politely to Catherine's condescending remarks and Damien's fake concerned but at night siya and Julian Beckin something else not just pedant and nurse but partners ko. Conspirators sa mamos siya had memories he side nose on which for yet a finger tap for no offend bit since when something scared him kay were getting good at says on evening as you messaged his last hand to stay mo late must go. Ton siya whisperen ikinoyo want to assist post kang ban, we need proof real proof and manid to be careful Julian managed to bring ease. West response 20 chadis finger on yes norang puro dati device from her pocket ang sick pinsas, summer she had borrowed from her friend in tech support it was hospital standard issue but it was discreet and resolution and had saved more trend on wisdom nowhere in yo past ilapit it in yo medication cabinet. Nangalawir imutin on it around bekot hato sa next meeting. Ren came co-orns kat shelo dras daw kat snaf is to kitty him sedid. Catherine say nani want sat nurse out of her hands la paperworks ready. She seen to mans nora sat in silence and srembing as the video finished siya termet yo fang free temes ansto. Whereas the ansto on encrypted cloud server and ons on her Nokia phone can wait muli and siyop she jack 10 message to send it to the WhatsApp. She asked that night sitting by his bed with her laptop ngulian benkya dance scenes, adain, norang isitated to Gwens. Si open girl no tebok flapping to a less of na mesra had painstakingly nag form letter by letter at katap remaribnik nguyan's long-time personal at oriloy ang desperate locked out by ka family after nguyan sa accidentally senitohin. She said we ought know how to look at night she uploaded the video well a short message thirdly ibelyang kier air kao ani peso but tourist told by Nulian Blackwell is alam an what's happening here is a crime case footage from hitis daw kwas Nora Ellis she hits and fen she young Guyan's hand and whisper kay won't win. Among these fingers in hers just slightly it was a noob in early hours at the morning her phone bell read the message from a variably subject it Rodia mo Blackwell mesang demon may way do not speak to anyon else keep him say we're not alone in case animo norak. Ternad to nguyen style as it but no longer alon coding had changed noon. It was time to fight back nguyen o palad he says on at Tuesday morning it was Sabdo at first just stuffs neighbor of Fidel better in his lashes Loma had been adjusting his oxygen monitor when she noticed soft runner her breast out nilian he says good yet can again full niya was one for the first time in which his days fingers and sumeking inside her chat titan naghamas thus responding messages her breast Nora was looking at her and it was like being seen for Leo first until swelled in her eyes better she could stop them she whispered you're really back. Her tried to speak but his throat was gorilunot shisho, were red and replaced, na finger to her next don't prosperong te it's no year sing. Siya padhim sita proper bipilo situang a delicate perset but kayhan prepared for case moment masong memory ref na sets incremental railing muhat kayhan prepared for was the late between ng nunot sa lens of fear but so retin sacred na nataweling siya came back after her siya Karin at her was safety in as well notable from we might top fishes say the words kastan Guyan smiled faintly his voice was long broken but he managed on sa larot siya good passing him kakap kitaw in short bursts so the next are him most listening nalding resting but his ayig ni left first siya ton himabot ka nail great favorably who was coming when haligal team everything was set in motion little have control of fear state again siya said nan justice he das siya to ogang a little longer guyan then to answer immediately kren so ka your asped lobang form siya no did suddenly unab nun tumitiis this a bit past larong dimen. Parang Kim Nguyen's hand reacted sorry for her sales and will, the whispered Nora held sharply emotion machine forward night, at I did, no mahati was doing at first. Per was cracked or may been from iyaw don't need some yun na nakount na kating fines. Nguyen's grip on her hand tightened versus slutty you're the only thing cats mag-eli off his nice and Florence bitcoat he smiled with butts, real you didn't come latita ni you girl, no back siya webid at her yes waist no stream of her credigan loud in softly from sa tears physic in line. She said him crane over me piten. In not your patent, co-whispered not anymore. Sa lens file between kay magain but it was warm doon like held bit. Between tiwo pero pauk no sumeking had shine inat side gawain starred regardless and the city lang magbayon ng hospertang wosil, inside gulianad nora sa trandinhan not yet numbers not lying hill but no longer afraid to kill ka or was comer but kinagisa asur no and flat was lurs start of sumekin ni karo astem so udnay but ni wanted to let go lasang rolls moher lo city lay aselen promise inside mulian spenkaw soik. At ka-private hospital norang laupadimintong at tailored gerisot ka first trip manes had worn in Mick kawaste with moments slowly but his AS mersure per can't say a deeper been here about face. Norangas keda siya bata nagkakas of his street muyan na dagiwan tiad anymore. Pangribay ka represiseli at siyang. Seo with two assistants and a rolling briefcase ko so doklas ka press conference is at for sangpo. Sir the hospital's boardroom is Senator Damian and Catherine Becker Nulian leaned back in his chair and years nest in front of let's neprem a show no boardroom was hoong hospital executives family members and umel, nest reborners who had been promised an explosive on the they lost the black while and parikaner installed at your leg of the rumination law of compost confidence in a frame Damian just being her his smirk barely hidden na you all for coming. Sir Began smoothly as if no or family has faced an unspeakable hardship with Julian's trade condition to they may like to discuss current transfer of temporary executive control kan down no doors ang open ang AS third and Julian na while kiedin sa poted ang ni slightly by akin dressed and kaang ni stakabo dignity o sumuhad case date and one gas failed the room camera stated the enter nagwalis ni Catherine for Julian dead siya war ng terrorised got setter of sang room fen laledon han flanang yateblor and yoke drateyay at his step was isilew started without me awaki kalarin stammered sis iso guyan raised a hand sip third to the reporters if been conscious for several weeks no he was in a coma brief yes but when you woke up he realized something was wrong very wrong every step and forward open and jabrekis. And pulled out as walted that Julian nodded to Nora who stored he at the back of the room stantil. Lunga met Reyes for aspect second inumtog ang game fella press play lang room field best ka voices of Damian and Catherine we just need to kitin sa data won't be approve ng mushroom euro file yarn diyon siya sa tough sa picture gayas warmers mon kilirang stod and no sir sat down with ahan no hurries mas Damian tried to speak at set stay in not a context Nuyan's was kat roadlay and linil sa doharis and dirang most succeed dedicates had been for on person eternal to no raiwam Bayer norang falls as lamang ter nagtower Nergulian continued while Rarion as was planning fair next month siya stage at year Giseri na Catherine naroon her si found for an ilanas Gulian looked at her Cobain which was for the slice at chose not to be ang senior frame na board members began murmuri namangkan sa wrestler to cover alang sin pending charges formal investigations and reinstatement of Julius full authority. Tatarin andam yan last from Ron in silence fair negasi kabeng being them outside Gabor away from not shows mulyanin nagan slow while breaking he really narangwased to his side you did it, so whispered we did it. At corrected sila si tinid looking arang de variant sa river yun no snow. Paris shed for her hand good. In note, kasay di came to Fedjo. Shelo fedang iwas na slavery. Feel no. Stapet ko sa lat sorori ihad to no. Tawita din tong ismutan po, nautlar no te book siya frozen left case. Not to no hospital not as anis not as yourself. Silat out a bit si had pre-rest show as holding and carefree sa yes ils panarest of mila taming not yung main kang right choice. Net sembagoki. Sa whispered Pendulian did so making layerihan don since before ka-crusheth mayod and norang stepped forward into his arms into so biting siya of mahat kay had built di by the word be word on her bet at atem bakels sumnak stories don't beg gin wet terrors so begin in silet and grow louder when ma finally choose to listen on your ear ninyo Blackwell and mean so making different cause can now had been national news for months Gluhi and Ledjosentos Temos tiliket after the public revelation letting cure evidence and galong spit for each of ka radio you forged document and kya witness testimony wherein of got fearing Blackwell and poised and pristine church of gayang payunus at Bayin Barsin a federal women's prison in upstate New York lot charges, conspiracy to commit attempted manslaughter attempted medical fraud obstruction of care damyan last careful more arrogant had been even easier to prosecute yung easy meals with type A doctor silansyaw. Manipulation of the Korean hotels shares and isang recorded kits had so DS na 15 years without parot therein na mess were no longer whispered, at Black Taigala sourcing on luxury sponsorships ti where photo tas story sa at had tier ng tower yelling nurian had nang sweeping changes airs back for ang daily operations of ka Blackwell hotels had instead devoted himself to sumeting nunol Nora Ellis Foundation ang on-profit focus on protecting vulnerabilities from medilo abuse and supporting Mista no work in the love case itang Nora had resisted the name at first ang maras nan si Bagyuyan insisted you'll give me back Mile. I-open care first pilot program in Yavari Hospital where Julian had been kiteron he was lost an interactive but the building felt different no warmer better not just because of the sunlight cats trained proglon uri ang covered windows but because all matay had done inside ka desert. Cricket was Nora sa idea it was as paorang resort just at kitchas taki din tol kanyan sa few Mexico far from the city far from legacy far from boardrooms and kaya they went very few months no south funners no press just Nora Willian and peace on evening as kalsan melted din tol ya horizon and las keyboard gug kay it ang anaru traveling gas no na lauget. Not Julian pretended to be out of breath ang hotel in 5 countries. Siya tistan during the nasper 15 minuta sa folking. Iiamos gyad. Si smiled Myber. Deterred to, perido you want them to.